Hi everyone, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Osetali. In this video, you are going to be learning how to make this beautiful skirt. If it is a tutorial you're interested in, keep on watching and let's get started. For this tutorial, these are the fabrics I'm going to be making use of, okay? This is my main fabric, which is a crepe fabric, and it is a stretchy crepe fabric. Can you see it is very stretchy? And I have 1 yard of it. If you're a bigger size, you'll be needing up to 1.5 to be able to make the skirt. And I'll be using this skin color net for the circle design. I'm also going to be using this black net for the ruffles around the circle. I'm making use of cotton bias and also a zipper. So these are all the fabrics that you're going to be needing to be able to make the skirt. I'm just going to place them aside now, then we'll draft the pattern. These are the body measurements I'm going to be making use of. These are my personal body measurements. So do what to write down your own personal body measurements. I'm going to go ahead now to rule a line here, which is going to serve as the starting line. After rolling that line, I'm going to remove 1.5 inches, which is going to be for my waistband. Then I'll place my 1.5 inches on the starting line. Then I'll measure to the hip length. Then I'll take it all the way to the knee line. Then I'm going to take the full length of the skirt. So I'm making use of full length of 33 inches. I'm just going to come forward here a little bit. I will make sure I minus my 1.5. Then I'll measure to the hip length, the knee length, and the full length of the skirt. After doing that, I'm going to connect the dots to give me a straight line, just the way you see me doing. Now you're going to go ahead to label. So here is the waistline, here is the hip length, the knee length, and I have the full length. After doing that, now I'm going to take the round body measurement. I'll come to the waist here. I'll take my round waist measurement divided by 4. I'm not going to be adding that because I'm making use of a stretchy fabric. So I'll just measure my round waist measurement divided by 4 there. Then I'll come to the hip line, take the round hip measurement divided by 4, come to the knee line. So to take the round knee measurement, I'm going to measure what I have as my round hip measurement divided by 4. So I have 9.75. I'm going to be minusing 1.5 from it. So minus 1.5, I'm going to have 8.25. So I'm going to take 8.25 on my knee line. Okay. Then I'll come to the full length line. I'll take the same 8.25. Then after doing that, I'm going to connect with my ruler. So just use my curve ruler to connect the waist to the hip. Then I'll connect from the hip to the knee, just like this. Then I'm going to use the straight ruler to connect all the way to the end. So I just decided to reduce what I have here by 1/2 inch. So instead of 8.25 that I took here, I'm going to be reducing it to 7.75. So I just reduce it by 1/2 inch so that it will be looking more like a pencil rather than straight. Can you see? So you can see what I have now. So just go ahead and blend the lines, blend out all the curves. So after doing that, now you're going to go ahead to cut this out. So guys, this is it. This is what you're going to have after you are done cutting. Now I'm going to be using this pattern paper to cut both the front and the back pieces. This is what I had after I was done cutting, guys. I've cut both the front and the back pieces. Okay, so I cut them on fold. This is the front piece and these are the back pieces. You can see I cut the front piece on fold and I have 2 pieces for the back. So when I was cutting, I added all the necessary sewing allowance. I added allowance here. It doesn't really need allowance, guys, because it's a stretchy fabric. I added 1/2 inch to the top. I added 0.75 here and I added extra 1 inch to the end. So that was what I did. And I added 1.5 inches to the back piece for the zipper allowance. Okay, so that is it, guys. That was how I went ahead to cut out the piece. So now I'm just going to go ahead to mark out the wrong face so that I won't mess it up while I'm sewing. So after doing that now, guys, I'm going to place the 2 back pieces aside. So we start working on the front piece. So I'm just going to go ahead to first of all cut out of the waist area of the front piece. So I'm just going to be cutting out of it a little bit. So I'll just come down here by 1 inch. So just mark 1 inch down. Then you're going to connect it in a slanted form like this, just the way you see me doing. Then go ahead and cut it out. So that is it for the front piece, guys. So also place it aside. Another thing I went ahead to cut out was the piece I'll be using for the waistband. Okay, so I have it to be 4.5 inches wide, and I have it to be long enough to cover my round waist. You can see I have 34. That's way longer than my round waist measurement. So I'll be folding it together like this. It's going to be on fold. I'll be using it for the waistband. Now I'm going to bring back the front piece. I'm going to start working on the front piece. So just open your front piece on the table like this. So this is the right side and here is the wrong side. So make sure that the right side is facing you on the table like this. And this side here is the left hand side where I want the design to be. Okay, so I'm going to be using this cover of something to draw out the circles for the design. So the cover is just like about 5.5 inches long, so just for you to have an idea of how big what I'm using is. So I'm going to be using it for the drawing of the circles. So you remember that we have three circle design. Okay, we have three of them. So the first one, I'll just start from the end here. So I'll go up here by about 1.5 inches. Then at the side here, I'm also going to come in by 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to place my cover on it. Make sure that it is touching these two marks that I made. Okay, you can see. So just make sure it's touching the marks. Then go ahead to trace it out just the way you see me doing. So after tracing, this is how it's going to look like. So that's the first one. To draw the second one, I'm going to place my cover here. I'm not going to place it straight because it is not straight. It has a way it is, curvy. So I'll just make sure I give it a gap of about 1 inch. Okay, then I'll place my cover on it. So at this end here, I'm going to give it a space of about 4 inches, guys. So just mark like 4 inches. Then you're going to go ahead and connect this, make sure it is sitting on those 2 points that you made. Then go ahead and trace it out just like this. So this is the second one. Now for the last one, I'm going to be placing it at the end here. So just measure what I have here, which is 1.5 inches. I also mark the 1.5 inches. Then the space I have is 1 inch. I also mark 1 inch space. Then I'm going to place my cover on it. Make sure that it is sitting on those 2 points. You can see. So these points now, I'll just make it 2 inches instead. Okay. So make sure it's sitting on it. Make sure here is 1 inch. Then go ahead and trace out the third circle. So guys, after you're done doing that, this is what you're going to have. So these are the three circles. I'm going to go ahead to cut them out. You can see that I'm not cutting directly on the line. I gave it like half-inch space for the sewing allowance, you can see. So that's what you're going to do. So just go ahead and cut out the circles just like the way you see me doing. So guys, after you're done cutting, this is what you're going to have it looking like. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to braid this black net that I'll be using for the ruffles around it. So I'm just going to be cutting it out. Okay, first of all, just open it up like this. So go ahead and open up your net. I'm going to be doubling it. Okay, so I'll just fold it together. I want to cut it doubled. Okay, so just place the two ends here together. Can you see what I'm doing? Arrange it on your table like this. So first of all, what I'll be doing is I'm going to go ahead and cut out the end that I have there. So just cut out the end there. Then I'm going to measure how wide I want it to be. So I want it to be as wide as 2 inches. So I'll just mark 2 inches on it, just like this. Then after I'm done marking, I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. So guys, this is what you're going to have. You can see. Now I'll just cut out this one. I'm going to be cutting another one that I'll be joining to it. So this one is not going to be enough to go around the circle. Okay, so I'll just cut another one. So this is it. You can see. Now I have two of them. I'm going to be joining them together for the ruffle for one of the circle. Now I'm going to cut another one, another two pieces for the second circle. Then I'll cut another two pieces for the third circle. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out as many as I want. So after I was done cutting, I've cut all of them out, you can see. So I have two for each of the circles, you can see. So two for the first circle, two for the second circle, and two for the third circle. So this is it, guys. Now I'm going to start working on it. So what I will do is I'll just place them together like this. So I'm just going to place it together like this, and I will join it. This is what I had after I was done joining. You can see now I have a very long piece that's going to be enough for the ruffle. So you can see I'm just placing it together. Now I'm going to take this long piece to the sewing machine. I will sew gathered stitches on it. So I'm going to be creating gathers on it. So I'm just going to sew gathered stitches on it. So this is what I had after I was done sewing the gathered stitches on it, guys. You can see I have excess thread at the two ends that I'm going to be pulling for the gather. So I'm just going to take one of the thread like this, then I'm going to go ahead to pull it in order to create the gathered effect on it for the ruffles. So after you're done pulling from one side like this, you're going to continue from this other side. So just continue to pull like that. So guys, this is it. After I was done pulling, that was what I had. Now I'm going to bring my fabric. Okay, I'll just place this ones aside. I'm going to bring my fabric, then I'm going to be sewing it on my fabric. So I'm just going to place it on it like this. Can you see? So just place it round the circle, just the way you see me doing, guys. Can you see what I'm doing? So just place the ruffle that you made round the circle like this. Then you're going to take it to your sewing machine to sew. Now take it to the sewing machine and sew it round. This is what I had after I was done sewing ruffles to all the circles that I drew. Guys, this process was very time consuming, and it was kind of difficult to do because I have cut out the circles already. So I would advise that after you are done drawing your circles, don't cut them out. So don't cut them out yet. Make your ruffles and go ahead to sew your ruffles to your fabric without cutting out the circles. So after sewing your ruffles before you cut out the circles, because it was very difficult for me to sew my ruffles knowing fully well that I've already cut out the circles. So I have to be using paper to do it. You can see, so I'm just going to remove the paper that I used in sewing it now. So guys, this is it after removing the paper. You can see I couldn't even remove everything. It was very difficult. So this is what I have now. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead to bring the cutting bias. It's time for me to use the cutting bias. I'm going to flip my fabric to the wrong side just like this. Then I'll take my cutting bias. I'm going to place it on it from the wrong side. I'm going to be sewing from the wrong side. I'll sew it round, then I'll do the same thing to the other holes. This is what I had after I was done sewing cutting bias around it. You can see what I have. Now I'm going to flip my fabric to the right side. So I'll bring the cutting bias from the back. Then I will use it and cover it up. I will use it to cover up the seam. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? Use it to cover up the sewing. Then you're going to top stitch it. So just use it to cover your sewing like that. And you're going to sew it round. So guys, you can see what I'm explaining. So just sew it round like that, and you do the same thing to the other holes. This is what I had after I was done doing as I demonstrated. Can you see how clean it came out? You see how the finishing is looking like. So that is it. You're supposed to make it very neat. So this is it, guys. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to add the skin color net. So I'm going to bring the skin color net that I'll be putting underneath the circles. So I'm just going to first of all open it on my table like this. So you can see, so this is what I have. This is what I have. Now I'm going to be folding it into two. I'm going to double it. So just go ahead and fold it into two like this. So I folded it into two, and this is what I have it to be looking like. So I decided to fold it again, so making the fold into four. So this means now that I have folded this net fabric into four. So I want it to be thick enough. You know, net fabric are not thick, so anything it will easily tear. So me folding it into four is going to make it thick enough to an extent. So I just place my fabric on it. You can see. You see what I have now, guys. So after placing your fabric on it like this, then you're going to go ahead to pin it down. So just make sure you arrange it very well, make sure everything is straight, then go ahead to pin it down just the way you see me doing. So just pin it round so that when you are sewing on your sewing machine, it will not be moving out of place. So that's the essence of pinning it down. You can see I'm pinning every bit of it. So go ahead and pin it round just like this. So after you are done pinning, guys, this is what you're going to have. Now you take it to the sewing machine and you're going to sew it round. So just follow the top stitch that you made to sew it round, then you do the same thing to the other ones. This is what I had after I was done sewing, so I'm just cutting out the excess net fabric at the back. You can see. So guys, this is it. You can see how this came out. It looks way pretty than I even thought it was gonna look. You see what I have now, guys. So this is it. Looks so nice. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring the back pieces. I'm going to start working on the back pieces. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'll mark out the zipper allowance. So I'm just measuring the zipper allowance and I'm going to connect it with a straight ruler. So after you're done doing that, now I'm going to mark where the zip is going to be. So I'll just come down by about 8 inches for the length of my zipper. Then I'm going to measure the slit. So remember to take away 1 inch for the waistband. Then you're going to measure the slit. So the slit length I'm making use of is 20 inches. Okay. Now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I will sew from here to here with gathered stitches because we are going to be using it, and from here to here I will sew with very tight stitches. Then here is going to be open, that's going to be for the slit. So that's what I'm going to do right now. This is what I had after I was done doing that. You can see the slit that I have here, guys. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I will take this to the sewing machine. I will hem the slit. So I'm just going to fold it like this. So go ahead and fold this like this, and you're going to sew it. When you get to the top here, you're going to sew like this. Then you're going to fold this other end in as well. Then take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. This is what I had after I was done hemming the slit area. You can see what I have. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the front and the back pieces together. So I'm just going to place the front on the back piece like this. Then I'm going to join the sides. Place the two sides together and you're going to take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. Then you will do the same thing to this other side. Go ahead and join it. This is what I had after I was done joining, guys. You can see I have joined the two sides. So that is it. Now the next step is I'm going to be sewing the band to the waist. So this is my band. So I folded it into two, so it's on fold like this, and I'm going to be sewing it to the waist. I'm just going to open up the loose stitches that I sew on the zipper area. So just go ahead and loosen it up like that. Then after you are done loosening it up, you're going to take the band. Then you'll be sewing it to the waist area. So just place it on your waist like this, then go ahead and sew it round. This is what I had after I was done sewing the band to the waist. You can see what I have now. So this is how the front is looking like. You can see. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to, attach my zipper. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix my zipper to it. This is what I had after I was done doing that. You can see I've sewn the zipper, and after I was done sewing the zipper, I went ahead to hem the down part of the skirt. So I just hemmed it round. So guys, this is it for the sewing of this beautiful skirt. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.